And black folks don't embrace what folks are trying to do and fend that off, that upsets me, because I am somebody that's trying to set a path for future folks on the come up from my community to be in this position one day.
Davis is now facing a lawsuit in Miami from his ex, accusing him of battery, kidnapping, false imprisonment, and emotional distress. I mean, this does not look good, and he's had previous with his partner. Hands on women, I just can't agree with. It's just terrible, and it's so bad for boxing when a fighter is being accused of putting. I mean, that's my personal opinion on.
As reported, JakePaul's return could shift to December, with the November 14th Netflix exhibition in jeopardy due to the latest allegations against Gervonta Davis. Sources tell Ring Magazine that December 12th and the 19th are possibilities, right? And here are the potential opponents: Nate Diaz or Francis Ngannou.
Stephen A. Smith has sharply criticized Gervonta Tank Davis, claiming the boxer has ruined his own career through reckless behavior and poor decisions outside the ring. Smith stressed that raw talent is meaningless without discipline and respect for the sport. With Davis's future now uncertain, Jake Paul will move on to a new opponent. He is expected to face a fighter closer to his weight, style, and market value, allowing event plans to continue.
Jake Paul,
I hate it, and Jake Paul's starting to piss me off. Mike Tyson is 57 years old, man. Jake Paul been training with professional boxing trainers for years. He takes the sport very seriously.
So let me ask you, that's the question I have, because great kid, great businessman, by the way, amazing, and I know how he does all this character and persona. We keep saying that he doesn't want to be a boxer. He's not a boxer, but then
Jake Paul is a boxer.
Yeah,
that's my point.
Exactly. He's a boxer.
He can fight. He can fight. I respect him. So go in there against fighters. You should be climbing the ladder towards those other fighters and taking the sport seriously to the point where you're fighting actual boxers. Now he decides to fight a fighter, a real fighter, which is Tyson. But Tyson is 30 years older. Stop this nonsense of going against dudes that either ain't boxing or is 25 years removed from the sport.
Inside Ring Show has posted an official update on X reporting that Gervonta Davis is expected to be removed from his November 14th Netflix exhibition against Jake Paul. The event will likely be pushed to December as a replacement opponent is being searched for, sources told The Ring's Mike Coppinger. December the 12th and December 19th are among the dates currently under consideration for Jake Paul's next event. Sources also revealed that Andre Ward has been contacted regarding his availability, while Nate Diaz and Francis Ngannou are being explored as possible alternatives. The announcement has sparked intense speculation among fans about who Jake Paul will face next. According to the Wade podcast, Jake's team is prioritizing financial stability and public perception above all else. They believe the lawsuit involving Davis could severely impact pay-per-view sales, as many viewers may refuse to support a fighter facing serious allegations. The analyst noted that Jake's camp values reputation just as much as profit, and this situation risks damaging both. The fight was originally expected to draw major mainstream attention through Netflix's global reach, but headlines surrounding Davis's legal troubles have drastically shifted the narrative. While boxing often benefits from controversy, the analyst warned that legal issues can push audiences away instead of drawing them in.
Jake takes these fights very seriously, and I just thought, okay, this is going to get a little more interesting than I previously thought. I thought it would be a bit of a mismatch, a bit of a, boxing experience to Gervonta Davis, Jake bringing the size and power, and we're going to get one of these stalemates where no one wants to take a real risk. Both guys are going to get paid. Turns out no guy may get paid, or Gervonta Davis might be kicked off the card because we have a new, not champion, a new domestic violence abuse allegation against Gervonta Davis. There's been a lot of allegations against Tank, and some of those have been dropped, and others have not really been pursued, and you don't really know what's what behind the scenes with people, but when things like this happen over and over, I think this is his fourth or maybe fifth allegation of domestic abuse, you kind of start to have to look at the person that's being accused of such and go, why do you keep ending up in these situations? And the way it's described, we've even seen Tank do some of the things already on camera. But let's get into this thing, and then we'll just go right into the report from Chris Mannix here. Shout out Mannix. Obviously, you guys know him as a commentator with DAZN, covers boxing, covers basketball as well for SI. Chris Mannix on Twitter says, Netflix and reps for Jake Paul have been exploring potential replacements for Gervonta Davis. Sources familiar with the situation told SI Now. Paul Davis, scheduled for November 14th, is in limbo after new allegations of domestic violence against Gervonta Davis. I was in the car. I didn't know if this was real, but I had seen a report, and this came out, I think on October, it came out a couple days ago, but it was from October 27th, and there was a civil suit over domestic allegations just 2 weeks ahead of this fight. This is from Andreas Hale, our guy over at ESPN.com. He essentially wrote the article on it and went into details. So let's take a read. Gervonta Tank Davis has once again found himself in legal trouble just 2 weeks before his exhibition fight. And yes, it was going to be an exhibition, though it was billed as a exhibition with, a winner and loser. But let's be honest about it. Two guys, massively different weights, massively different experience. It was going to be an exhibition. On November 14th, a new civil lawsuit filed in Miami-Dade County has put the WBA lightweight champion in hot water over another.
Mike Coppinger, senior insider for the Ring magazine and co-host of Inside Ring Show, stated on X, as reported by Chris Mannix, that Jake Paul's November 14th Netflix exhibition is now in serious jeopardy due to the latest allegations against Gervonta Davis. According to Ring magazine sources, the bout may shift to December, with December 12th and December 19th currently being considered. Mannix also noted that Ryan Garcia and Terence Crawford were both approached as potential replacements. Coppinger's update adds further weight to increasing reports that Jake Paul's matchup could see major restructuring. Carl Froch did not hold back while addressing the uncertainty around Paul's next step. He described the original Davis fight as a circus, arguing it was driven more by entertainment than true sporting merit. Froch believes Jake Paul never should have agreed to face Gervonta Davis, saying the matchup offered little competitive value to begin with. With Davis now entangled in legal issues, Froch insists it's time to move on and secure a legitimate replacement. He speculated that Jake's team is already pursuing backup names and suggested the event could still proceed if a credible opponent is found. Froch further criticized how quickly modern boxing sacrifices competitive legitimacy for spectacle, warning that situations like this show how easily that strategy can collapse.
Still proven guilty, they say, right? Regardless of how many times he's been accused of this type of stuff, allegedly or not, it's still innocent until proven guilty. Now, if I have a contract with you, this doesn't involve you. I understand you got a brand and public relations, all this type of stuff, but technically, this doesn't involve you. So you pulled my $200 Jake Paul contract. What if I'm innocent over here? You know who I'm coming after? I'm coming after you. I want my fucking money, or I want some compensation. But these big companies, they be having stipulations and little clauses in their contracts that give them the ability to cancel contracts for all different types of. I used to have those in RB.
Oscar de la Hoya has shut down rumors that Ryan Garcia could step in to replace Gervonta Davis. He confirmed that no such discussions have taken place and made it clear that if serious negotiations ever began, he would be the one to announce them. De la Hoya stressed that Ryan Garcia is currently focused on other plans, and fans should not expect a sudden crossover fight with Jake Paul. His statement effectively ended the growing speculation and reminded the boxing community that not every rumor deserves attention. Despite fan curiosity, De La Hoya firmly stated that, for now, there is no conversation between Ryan's camp and Jake Paul's team.
Wake up to calls from reporters asking about Jake Paul and Ryan Garcia. Let me just tell you why this fight is not going to happen. Ryan Garcia fights for DAZN, and Jake Paul fights on Netflix. I mean, that's pretty much the bottom line. Golden Boy has a contract with DAZN. Ryan Garcia has a contract with Golden Boy. And that's just the way it is. I mean, this is business. Ryan Garcia's probably going to rant saying, oh, you're keeping me from making money and this and that and fighting. No. You have to go by the law, by the rules. You have a contract with DAZN. You have a contract with Golden Boy. It doesn't happen that way. So, anyway, until next time, we'll see you Saturday for Virgil Ortiz. But again, Ryan Garcia's next fight will be announced.
Commentators have pointed out that this is not Gervonta Davis's first run-in with controversy. Earlier this year, he was accused of mistreatment by the mother of his children, a case that was later dropped but still left a stain on his public image. Now, with another former partner filing a lawsuit, many believe Davis must confront his actions more seriously. Analysts argue that fame and success mean little if a fighter cannot control their behavior outside the ring. These repeated accusations have raised concerns about Davis's discipline and professionalism, threatening to overshadow his accomplishments in boxing. Some experts have even suggested that his team should step in to help him refocus and protect his legacy before his personal issues destroy what he has worked so hard to build.
Match never happened. The Paul camp still thought Tank is a big enough name regardless of his previous result to go ahead with this bout. But just as they were going to announce this fight initially, DV allegations dropped. Tank was arrested, and it was once again put in doubt. Then the charges were dropped. A week later, they announced the event. So that kind of brings us to today. This event hasn't been smooth sailing so far, and it was almost destined that there would end up being a few more bumps in the road before we actually saw the two facing off. And about as big of a bump as you could really get has now hit the promotion. A civil suit has been filed against Tank, in which his ex-girlfriend accuses him of aggravated battery, false imprisonment, kidnapping, and intentional infliction of emotional distress. While it was also reported by ESPN that a report has been filed additionally with the Miami Gardens Police Department last Tuesday. However, as I'm recording this, there's yet to be any criminal charges. Now, these alleged incidents happened last month, which was after the announcement of the fight. You would think if you're Tank on the verge of the biggest payday he's ever gotten, he would be doing anything to stay out of trouble, yet he continues to find himself in negative situations again and again. But in saying all of this, everything at the moment is very much alleged, and I'm not really here to talk about the validity of these claims. What I am here to talk about, though, is the impact this might have on the boxing event in a couple weeks' time. Now, Tank vs. Paul, love or hate the idea of it, was definitely one of the most viewed fights of the year. Although there are rumours of there being poor ticket sales, the at-home audience...
Commentators have pointed out that this is not Gervonta Davis's first run-in with controversy. Earlier this year, he was accused of mistreatment by the mother of his children, a case that was later dropped but still left a stain on his public image. Now, with another former partner filing a lawsuit, many believe Davis must confront his actions more seriously. Analysts argue that fame and success mean little if a fighter cannot control their behavior outside the ring. These repeated accusations have raised concerns about Davis's discipline and professionalism, threatening to overshadow his accomplishments in boxing. Some experts have even suggested that his team should step in to help him refocus and protect his legacy before his personal issues destroy what he has worked so hard to build.
Involve the offer. If you're going to involve the laws, given the lawsuit, why not involve the law in general and file like actual charges in addition to this? So again, I'm not her. I don't understand that angle of it, because it's like we want him to be held accountable in front of the public, but there's no criminal charges, which is weird, in a situation like that. At least to me, it seems like you would have criminal charges or some kind of restraining order. Now, I don't know. It's not my case to fight or defend. We have to see what comes. I have mixed feelings about these situations because on one angle, we do see boxers throughout history who have been involved with like temper issues or anger management issues and DV in domestic situations. We've seen that. And I'm talking about all types of fighters, right? Even the great Mike Tyson, I don't believe the story, but again, I don't want to get too distracted on my opinion, but he did prison time for allegedly to a female, right? So on one angle, we've heard that. But then on the other angle, you got people who sue left and right, and sometimes even females, right? Where people are looking to turn a pretty penny. And what happens is sometimes in these celebrity situations, maybe it's true, maybe it's not. I got to see more. It has to go to trial or whatever, see what evidence comes out. Again, this is not really for me to judge. I'm not the judge, the jury. I'm not a cop. So.
Or she got trash ass lawyers, and he did all of this shit. They got all the evidence in the world. They're like, yeah, we just gonna have him 50K. We ain't gonna ask you nothing more than that. Something gotta give, bro. Okay? Something gotta give, fam. So there's that part of it. Then for the Tank Davis side, listen, dog. Whether you did it or not, if that's all it takes to make this shit go away, so you can go on with your life and go on with your career, I'd consider doing it from a business perspective, right? And just saying, look, man, you ask for how much, man, it go 100. Shoot up, issue an apology. You know what I'm saying? Say I never did that shit. Say it was a misunderstanding, and you can have 100K. Yeah. That's the business side to make this shit go away and keep it moving. But the man in me, right? pride is the wrong word. The integrity in me says, if you didn't do this shit, fight tooth and nail, and don't give a shit, right? So there's that, right? It's just, again, not saying guilty or innocent. Y'all know when shit like this happen, I like to wait on all the facts to come out. Damn, this shit seeming very, very suspect, bro. Very weird. But now let's get to the potential opponent. So nothing from MVP has came out to say this fight has been canceled. As a matter of fact, they were still promoting the shit yesterday on their socials or whatever. Nothing from Tank's side that said this shit is canceled. Nothing from Netflix saying this is canceled. So for all intents and purposes, these are rumors started by Chris Manning. So